close the window. Hey, I know what will improve your eyesight. Look at more beautiful things. Like me.
Can you tell me what I actually need to do during yellow dust days?
Fine. Here are your guidelines for days with yellow dust. First, check your windows to make sure the yellow dust can't get inside. Turn on the air purifier. Second, refrain from outside activities if possible. If you do go out, wear a mask. When you get home, thoroughly wash your hands and feet. Third, fully wash any fruits or vegetables that have been exposed to yellow dust. And last of all, get plenty of water. Keep up to date on weather forecasts for the latest yellow dust information.
This campaign was brought to you by BEFM, 부산 영어방송.
김밥가게 박 사장님도, 문구점 김 사장님도, 우리 부산의 경제를 움직이는 사람들. 우리 동네 작은 가게로 향하는 발걸음이 우리 부산의 경제를 키워가는 한 걸음입니다. 부산 방송광고 발전 협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
It is getting hot, is it not? Summer is definitely heating up, and I wonder what you, the wavers, consumed over the weekend. 자, 웨이버들 주말 동안 뭐 드셨나요? So, if you buy into the whole ERTR theory, you may have consumed something hot, like 삼계탕, 추어탕, any of the tongues. The idea behind this is that hot, nutritious dishes may restore balance to the body. That's the theory. Or maybe you tried a cool or cold bowl of naengmyeon, or in Busan, 밀면, which is very popular here. So which do you prefer? Something hot to support the body's natural way of cooling down, or maybe something really cold that gives you instant relief? So you think about that. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Monday, the last day of June 30th on BEFM, 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, wavers. I hope you had a good weekend, whether you were enjoying something hot or cold. Can you believe it's the last day of June? We are officially on the very last day of the first half of the year. That's kind of scary. For those of you who had many things on your New Year's resolution list, maybe you can kind of look back to January 1st or the Lunar New Year, go back to your list, your goals, your vision, and maybe retool, recalculate whatever you want to do to make sure your goals are met for this year. Well, with the sun blazing down on us this past weekend, vacation season has definitely begun. And some of Busan's beaches are already open, with others slated to open tomorrow, because tomorrow is July 1st. For smaller cities, getting these summertime visitors is even more essential. According to the Ministry of the Interior and Statistics Korea, there were multiple areas in the country where the visiting population outnumbered the actual registered population by between 5 to even 20 times. This is what we call a floating population, 생활 인구. Those who don't live in a specific area but stay there for at least 3 hours per day. So people who work in an area or maybe visiting on a trip. And for smaller cities, counties, and districts, many of which are seeing population declines, they are welcoming these floating populations with open arms. Some counties are even offering big discounts across transportation, food, and accommodations. And that is because having more visitors come in definitely helps with the local economy. Of course, experts do caution against jumping in and using this floating population data as a long-term solution for the overall population decline. City planners, they have consistently raised issue with an overcount of these floating populations, leading to inefficiencies in budget execution and infrastructure. So any issue, of course, has multiple factors, multiple facets. But at least for this summer, let's hope that these smaller regions can benefit from the trickle-down economics of these floating populations. All right, now let's head on over to our text topic. It is related to a story we're going to discuss later on. Where is your favorite place to swim? So I'm going to give you some examples like, the ocean, river, lake, swimming pool, etc. So 수영장, 바다, 계곡, 나의 이상적 물놀이 장소는? So let me know. Yes, send in your thoughts, your favorite places, and maybe you can give us some great specific spots to swim as well. You can send them in to BFM's live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform and type in BEFM or Busan 영어 방송 to find us. And you can subscribe, log in, and chat with our other waivers. You can also, through your phone, text in pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free through Kakao Talk. To find us, same thing. Type in BEFM, Busan 영어 방송. Add us as a friend first, and you can send in your messages and photos as well. And the ways you can tune into our program, 90.5 or 103.3 FM on the radio if you're in Busan. And if not, well, we have the internet, right? So you can check us out on YouTube. Like I said, we're streaming live right now. You can watch again at your leisure. We also have the BEFM app and also available on the Papang app as well. Both are free to download. Looking ahead to our Monday morning together. So first up, we have Michael with Cultural Interlude. That's coming up in hour number 1. In hour number 2, we have News in Depth with Claire. For our special interview today, which is in hour number 2, we're going to be talking about Trump's Birthright citizenship order. So this is a major issue in the States, and it may affect even people who are ethnically Korean and maybe have children abroad, so namely the States. So let's talk about this whole issue. That's coming up in hour number 2 with our expert. And I'll be back with news overview. It's now 7:06, and this is News Overview. President Lee Jae-myung names 6 minister nominations. President Lee Jae-myung yesterday named his nominations for the Ministries of Finance, Justice, Interior, Education, Trade, and Health, nearly completing his cabinet lineup. Ex-President Yoon requests to postpone summons. Former President Yoon Suk-yeol's attorneys have asked the special counsel to change the date of his next summons for questioning. The counsel notified the next round of questioning as tomorrow at 9 a.m., saying that the date is not up for negotiations. Household loans near 7 trillion won in June. The increase in household loans in South Korea will likely come to nearly 7 trillion won for June, for a 5th consecutive increase amid a spike in Seoul area home prices. Heat wave records records hottest temperature for the year. A heat wave blazed down over the southern part of the country over the weekend, with Gyeongju recording the hottest day of the year yesterday at 37.5 degrees Celsius. U.S. to send tariff letters to countries in coming days. U.S. President Donald Trump said that the U.S. will send letters to every country assigning tariff rates as the July negotiations deadline looms near. This was News Overview. It's time for Now in Busan. We have Sejin in the studio. Let's say good morning first. Happy Monday.
Morning. How are you?
Pretty good. So, first of all, let's talk about this whole, favorite place to swim. Do you enjoy swimming?
Honestly, I don't know how to swim. I've never learned how to swim.
Okay.
But my father always taught me on swimming lessons.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he always.
But you never learned? It never caught on?
That play a role as an
Yes?
rebellion behavior because it pushed back my interest in
Really?
swimming.
Your father was offering you swimming lessons and you wanted to rebel.
Yeah.
Interesting. Even how about like 물놀이? Like, not necessarily like swimming, like but do you prefer the pool, the ocean, the lake? What do you prefer?
I would go for the ocean with a tube. I had one story in a swimming pool.
Yes.
I was there when I was really younger. And then I just went diving in a swimming pool. And I
Yes.
thought the security guard was supposed to come to rescue me but I didn't know how to swim, but I just dived.
But you jumped in
Yeah.
anyway? Oh my goodness.
And like how much time it went by,
Yes.
he didn't come. And I was drowning and trying to find the rescue and like go up, but it didn't really work.
The lifeguard didn't jump in.
No, he thought I was just...
Like playing? Oh no.
Ever since then, no water.
No water. I fully understand. We're going to jump into our first local story. Sejin, there's been a lot of talk about the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries moving to Busan. Any updates?
Yes, quite a big one. The ministry is hoping to relocate to Busan by the end of this year, and now they're working with the city to find a temporary office space.
Yes. So no final building. So we're not talking about the final building yet, right?
Not yet. It'll take a few more years to complete. In the meantime, they're looking to rent an existing building, and they've already started scouting locations around the city.
I see. Any idea where they're looking?
Mainly Junggu and Donggu district, the city's old downtown area. And somewhere close to Busan station would be ideal, since many of their staff will still need to travel to Seoul or Sejong from time to time.
I see. That makes sense. Well, I'm sure it can't be easy to find a building that kind of ticks all the boxes, right?
You're spot on. They need space for over 600 staff, plus strong building security, good parking, and ideally something modern. So far, nothing's been perfect match.
Yes. Well, could they possibly split the big team into maybe two buildings?
That's an option, but only if the buildings are really close together. Otherwise, it would affect how smoothly they can work. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a conundrum. What is the city doing to help?
From July 1st, so tomorrow, Busan City is setting up a special support team just for this. So they will help with everything from temporary office space to housing for relocated employees and schooling support for their children.
Yes, so this is a major move, so I'm sure our city is doing its utmost, and it sounds like it, to support that move. All right, next up, I hear that Busan's iconic 자갈치 market has plans for a big new section. So what's going on with this?
Right, Busan was planning to open a new 자갈치아지매 market by the end of June, but it's now being pushed back indefinitely. As of now, no new date has been set.
Really? So why? Why is this happening?
Well, only 2 people actually applied for the lottery to move into new shops.
Yes.
Out of 200 eligible stallholders, just 2. So they had to cancel the draw altogether.
Right. So 2 out of 200. Such low interest. What's the reason behind this?
Several reasons. Many vendors felt the rent was too high. They also claimed their opinions were not taken into account in the facility design. No lift, and the toilets weren't where they wanted them. Some traders even raised concern that people with no right to stall were getting in through the back door, so trust was also shaky.
Right. This has been going on for a while now. What is the city doing to address this?
They're basically going back to square one. Busan City says that they will re-review the entry process and keep holding talks with the vendors. And they've already been 4 round tables over the
Yes.
past 2 months.
And so wasn't this supposed to give a boost to the summer tourist season, which is upon us right now?
Yeah, it was meant to breathe a new life into the 자갈치 area as visitor numbers go up. So quite a few people are disappointed it's been pushed back.
Yes, I'm sure. Any idea when it might open?
Nothing confirmed yet. The city says they will set a new timeline once they reach an agreement with this market vendor society.
I see. So, of course, 자갈치아시장, the market is so important to Busan, so we'll keep abreast of this news. Now, moving on to our next story. It's an exciting one. The Busan Philharmonic Orchestra is heading overseas.
Yes, for the first time in 28 years, they've been officially invited to perform in Germany this September. They once performed back in 1997 in New York. So this is their first international invite since then.
Yes, so where exactly are they going?
They're off to two major festivals.
Okay.
On the 23rd of September, they perform at Music Fest Berlin. That's one of the most prestigious music festivals in the world.
Okay.
And then on the 25th, they'll head to Munich for Musica Viva, which is a major stage for contemporary classical music.
And so it sounds like a major deal, right? I mean, this is the first time, as you said, in 28 years. Who invited them?
The invitation came from Billy Hope, who's artistic director of both festivals. He reached out to conductor Hong Sung-won and the Busan Philharmonic Orchestra.
I see. So what kind of music will they be performing?
A really interesting one. They're performing works by Park Young-hee, a Korean composer based in Germany. Along with pieces by Mes Yang and Sibelius. So strong focus on modern and contemporary classic works.
I see. Will there be a chance to catch them in Korea before they head out?
Yes, they're hoping a preview concert in 17th of September at Nakdong Art Center.
Okay.
Next month, Billy Hope himself will visit Busan next month to hold a press briefing and ask about what this invitation really means for the orchestra.
I see. Well, we can look forward to the performance here, and of course, wish them the best when they go abroad as well. So, what about our last item? I hear it's something to do with the 동백패스. So, it's something regarding it going digital.
Yep, starting July 1st, so tomorrow, Busan's 동백패스 will be available on mobile. No more need to carry a physical card around.
Wow, so that's a huge upgrade. So, how does it work?
If you got a 동백전 postpaid transit card, you can now register it with the Samsung Wallet app. Then just link to the EZL transit card inside an app, and you're good to go from July 1st.
I see.
But it only works with the EZL option in Samsung Wallet, not with T-Money.
Okay. So now that we understand, what's the actual benefit of using the 동백패스?
If you spend over 45,000 won on public transport within a month,
Okay.
you get up to 45,000 won back via 동백전. This is Busan's local currency card.
Well, I mean, that sounds like an amazing deal. So who can use the mobile version?
Right now, only people with Busan Bank BC cards or Hana BC cards can register.
Okay.
NH Bank BC cards will be added in October.
Well, what about for first-timers?
New users need to get a 동백 postpaid transport card first from the local bank branch or the 동백전 app. Then they can set it up in Samsung Wallet.
I see. So whether you use a physical or the mobile version, you still get the same cash back. Is that correct?
Yeah, but here's a tip. If you use both, the cashback is calculated based on whichever one you used more.
Oh, that's important to keep in mind. So for all the waivers out there, if this affects you, yes, please make a note of this. Thank you for all the updates, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Sajin.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
All right, let's get to your traffic and weather.
Good morning.
Good morning.
굿모닝입니다.
굿모닝.
좋은 아침입니다.
모닝 웨이브 인 부산.
Morning wave in Busan.
모닝 웨이브 인 부산.
Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
모닝 웨이브 인 부산.
Let's take a look at the traffic report right now. There is a broken down cargo truck on the Dongso overpass coming into the city right by the Pumnickel ramp. It's backed up on the Dongso overpass in the opposite direction going out of the city from Pumnickel ramp to the old Daegum tollgate. There's also congestion from Manduk intersection to the Nama Expressway Deokjeon ramp. And it's backed up on 중앙대로 from Sojungcheon intersection to Bugok intersection. Currently, it is already 27 degrees Celsius with a heat wave special report. So this is 폭염특보 and a heat wave impact report, 폭염 영향예보, over the city. The daytime high is expected to go up to 31 degrees today under clear skies. Across the nation, a hot one with a heat wave special report over parts of Gyeonggi, Gangwon, Chungcheong, much of the southern region, and Jeju. So please be careful if you are in these areas. Showers forecast for the capital area, Gangwon, Gyeongbuk, and parts of Gyeongnam in the afternoon. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for Top Stories. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, so we're going to talk about the water. What do you enjoy? Where do you like going to swim or to play?
All right, so unlike Sejin, I'm like a human seal. Otter,
Oh.
I don't know, sea lion, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I love the water.
Okay,
so
okay.
all of the above, which I think was a souvenir name. You don't like the stickiness of the ocean. Totally get. But then I went swimming in Dadepo for the first time, like in the ocean for the first time in years. It was really refreshing. So pleasant. So yeah.
Yes, yes.
The goal this summer is to like go at least, I don't know, 4 times, like every other week. That's the goal. We shall see.
Give us updates. All right, we're going to dive into our first top story. This is regarding former President Yoon Suk-yeol. Had his first summons under the special counsel this weekend.
Right, so let's recap what happened there. So this was the first questioning by the special prosecution led by Cho Eun-suk over Yoon's insurrection charges. Overall, the entire proceeding took about 15 hours. But apparently the actual questioning part was just over 5 hours.
Yes.
So that hints at a lot of tensions, a lot of recess and breaks, unintended and unintended, with this back and forth between the special counsel and the former President Yoon Suk-yeol's attorneys that took up most of the time.
Yes.
So this even kind of a tension, it started even before the questioning began, with Yoon's side requesting that he be allowed to enter the building via the underground parking lot, so without having to appear in front of reporters.
Yes.
The special counsel said no. And surprisingly, because we left the show on Friday not knowing whether he would comply, the former president appeared in front of reporters in front of the prosecution's building, doing in Korea we call that the photo line. In the US it's called a perp walk. So
Yes.
that happened. But Yoon did not consent to being videotaped during the questioning, but he did answer questions for about an hour.
Well, so far so good. I mean, in terms of what went down. However, things took a turn in the afternoon.
Right, so there was apparently a lunch break. At this point, former President Yoon Suk-yeol's attorneys apparently took issue with Police Commander Park Chang-won of the Police Serious Crimes Investigation Team being the lead investigator questioning Yoon, because the reason that he was chosen was that he has been investigating the case from before.
Right.
However, Yoon's side's claim is that Park is apparently a perpetrator, 가해자, to what they claim was an illegal execution of a previous arrest warrant. So the former president apparently refused to walk back into the questioning room after lunch, and there was a 3-hour standoff with this ending with the prosecution changing the interviewer.
I see.
The issues covered on Friday was obstruction involving his arrest warrant, the cabinet meeting that happened before and after Yoon declared martial law in December, and any outside influence parliamentary activities in trying to dismiss his martial law declaration.
Yes, so that's what happened. But now there's this back and forth going on over his next summons date.
Right, so you covered that briefly in news overview, but let's get into that a little bit more. So the special prosecution has requested that Yoon appear for a second questioning. Initially, that was to be today at 9 a.m. However, Yoon's side requested this change in date to July 3rd. The special prosecution re-notified the defense team to show up for questioning tomorrow, July 1st at 9 a.m.
Okay.
So they say that they've accepted the defense's opinion, saying that they do understand the need for health reasons and trial prep. However, it also drew a line saying that scheduling is not a matter of negotiation, that the decision is made by the special counsel. A reporter also asked the official who talked about the date. If Yoon's side does not comply with the July 1st questioning date, could that be the grounds for a detention warrant?
Okay.
And the official said that she'll just say that the council would have no choice but to proceed with the regular procedures of criminal lawsuits, hinting that, yes, it could be.
I see. So, of course, we're going to follow this story. Up next, we have covered the tragic death of the two sisters after a fire broke out in their home in Busan. But I do want to touch on the larger issue of childcare that left these children alone so early in the morning.
Right, so this is regarding the death of the two sisters, 1-7 and 1-10, at an apartment fire in Daegum-dong here in Busan last Tuesday.
Right.
So this fire broke out at 4:15 in the morning, and the parents were not home as they had left to go work. So there have been similar tragedies involving these fires with no adult present in the home. And here's the thing, though. It's so easy to say, well, why weren't they there? But with circumstances and economic reasons, it is sometimes hard to fault the parents.
Right.
So, for example, there was another fire at an Incheon home that killed a 12-year-old. And back then, the mom was at her restaurant job and the dad was at his kidney dialysis treatment.
Yes, yes. But there are, or at least in theory, should be a public childcare services available for such cases, you would think.
Right. So that's a larger issue that I do want to touch on because it is called 아이 돌봄 service, the child care service for children between the ages of 3 months and 12 years. And these are home visits by a babysitter.
Right.
And you can sign up for up to 4 hours before when you need the care or even 2-hour mark for emergency care. However, there's apparently a significant wait time. So according to the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family, last year, the average wait time to get matched for when you sign up and actually you getting the ping for a babysitter,
Right.
32.8 days. That's a month plus a day or two.
Yes.
That's because most of the demand, this is of course average. The highest demand, there's a specific time before and right after school or in the evening time before parents get home.
Yes.
And even during these non-popular times, matchup isn't guaranteed because if there's no sitter available in your neighborhood for that time, then your request is automatically canceled.
I see.
And also, this is not completely free. The government does subsidize 75 up to 85% of the fees for lower income households, 75% under the median income.
Yes.
Other families do have to pay out of pocket 4,000 won up to 12,000 won if you're paying in full. So therefore, experts call for additional support, including vouchers or coupons to lower income families, and for better access, whether this be in availability of the sitters or just an easier platform for the parents to sign up.
That's right. So once again, not the only factor, obviously, but still, this is an issue that needed to be addressed. So thanks for going over this. Oh, for now, we're going to go to the U.S. for our next stories. U.S. President Donald Trump made some optimistic comments about his possible relationship with North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un.
Right, because President Trump has kind of been on a roll when it comes to his self-proclaimed, and others, some agree, diplomatic successes.
Yes.
So Donald Trump expressed confidence that if or should there be conflict with North Korea, the U.S. would get it solved. So he was speaking to the press on Friday local time and there re-emphasized how he gets along with North Korean Chairman Kim Jong-un very well. So this was in response to a North Korean news report that President Trump apparently sent a letter to Kim via the only available channel, North Korean diplomats stationed in New York.
Yes.
But the diplomats apparently refused to even accept the letter, let alone pass it over. But this comment from Trump, it seems to be an expression of his willingness to re-engage with the Kim regime. And previously, the administration had reiterated its commitment to the complete denuclearization of the North.
Right.
So again, going back to the diplomatic role, he may be just trying to keep that going because, of course, this comes on the heels of the ceasefire between Israel and Iran that he brokered to end the 12-day war.
Right.
And also the comments themselves, they came during a press event with top diplomats of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, who signed another U.S.-brokered peace deal that ended deadly conflicts that have been going on between the two African neighbors for years.
Yes, yes. So that's one story stateside regarding the Trump administration. And now I want to turn to the U.S. Supreme Court, which handed President Trump a major victory that affects the controversy over ending birthright citizenship. And by the way, we do have an expert coming on in hour number 2, but let's get some of the details.
Right, so let's lay down the groundwork before we get to the expert interview. So Donald Trump, on day 1 of his second term, he signed, many executive orders, but one of which was ending birthright citizenship. So this, famously, it is when anyone is born on U.S. soil, he or she is given citizenship.
Yes.
So lower courts in the U.S., they granted injunctions, 가처분, and this is a word that we're going to hear over and over again in this case.
Yes.
That basically saying that Donald Trump stopping birthright citizenship is unconstitutional. He can't do that. So that case went all the way up to the Supreme Court, which we should note has a conservative majority, 6-3.
Yes.
But what was interesting in this particular Supreme Court case is that the justices didn't rule on birthright citizenship. Instead, because experts say, and almost all experts would agree that it's really clearly laid out in the U.S. Constitution that if you are born on U.S. soil, you are a U.S. citizen. So instead, the issue that was argued was over nationwide or universal injunctions, 가처분 yet again.
So what exactly are nationwide injunctions, and what did the Supreme Court say about this?
Right, so injunctions, 가처분, they are basically court orders that stop something or a legal action from happening until that entire court process is finished.
Okay.
So ever since Trump signed the executive order stopping birthright citizenship, courts, district courts have issued these injunctions, again, allowing babies born on U.S. soil to be granted citizenship because injunctions have been applied nationwide. So there's been, so if a judge grants an injunction in one case, every other state has to follow.
Yes.
So the Supreme Court ruling actually said that that's not okay, that universal injunctions give courts too much power. So a little bit of backdrop is that sometimes there has been criticism of so-called judge shopping, depending on where you are. So, for example, taking liberal issues to a court, for example, in California or Massachusetts, which are blue states, as opposed to taking more conservative-leaning issues to a court in Texas, for example, to get a favorable ruling. But what this means would be injunctions for birthright citizenships, they'd have to be granted potentially to every single baby. There would have to be potentially millions of these injunctions to be issued. So there are possible reasons of bottleneck in the lower courts and also multiple broad legal implications because that could apply to essentially any constitutional issue. So that I will toss to our expert to cover.
Yes, indeed. Well, thanks for going over all the top stories. And of course, we'll hear from you in hour number 2. Thank you.
See you in a bit.
We are due for our first song break. Here it is. This is Antifreeze, and this is by 백예린.
어쩔 수 없는 거였어 우주 속을 홀로 떠돌며 많이 외로워하다가 어느 순간 태양과 달이 겹치게 될 때면 모든 것을 이해할 수 있을 거야 하늘에선 비만 내렸어 뼛속까지 다 젖었어 아마 이따 비가 그쳤어
Welcome back, listeners. Today, by the way, it is the last day of June, so that kind of like scares me once again. But we're talking about favorite places to swim. For those of you that don't swim, that's okay as well, because 물놀이. Who doesn't enjoy? Maybe some of you don't, but I love playing in the water. I also do enjoy swimming. So some of you said this. Your responses to the whole, where is your favorite place to swim? Whether it's like the sea, like ocean, river, lake, swimming pool. But Souvenir says, 저도 계곡 좋아해요. 물에서 왔을 때, excuse me, 바닷물에 찐득함이 싫어요. So that's a great point that he makes, because sometimes when you go swimming in the ocean and it feels good when you go in, but number one, I don't know about you, but the salt really bothers me. Like, do you really open your eyes underwater in the ocean? I don't. And 눈을 안 떠도 약간 따갑지 않아요? And then when you get out of the ocean, when you're on the beach, you get out and then there is that stickiness factor, but that could also have to do with your sunscreen too. But yes, definitely, creeks like 계곡 or those, streams are a nice way to cool down as well. And what's it's so, I don't know, 너무 좋지 않아요? The idea of like going to a 계곡 and then you have like what is it called? The 평상, the little table on the side, and whether you're enjoying fresh watermelon, or sometimes there are like restaurants along 계곡 where you can at least like put your feet in and have some like ori or whatever it is that you enjoy. That's also really nice too here in Korea. Well, we're going to get to cultural interlude. I'll be back with Michael in just a moment. It's time for Cultural Interlude. We have Michael Kang in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, so how's your weekend?
It's good. It's getting hotter. Oof.
So hot.
Steamy.
Ah.
Yes.
I agree. And then our text topic today, it's all about where is your favorite place to swim or to at least what is wrong with my voice today?
That happens.
I'm not sick.
Uh-huh.
And then maybe 발이라도 담글 수 있고 그런데 do you have a preferred place?
I like to go to those water parks.
Water park?
Yeah. 계곡 좋은데 nowadays I'm afraid of those amoeba rumors.
You see in the news all the time.
Yeah.
The amoeba
that
attacking
eats your
the
brain and stuff. I don't know. If it's true or not, I'm not sure. I don't know. But it scares me, And I wouldn't go to the beach either.
Why?
Because I'm not afraid of the water itself. But if you dive in, I have this phobia of depth. Not being able to see the bottom.
Oh,
it scares me crazy.
No, I get it. Because sometimes you think it's shallow and then you go, you're like, it's really deep.
Yeah, and you can't reach it and super scary. So I don't like that kind of.
You like knowing.
I have to be in control of my surroundings.
You want to know how deep it is.
I need to know how deep it is. Yeah, so that's why for me, water parks is the great choice because you know how deep it is, you know how big it is, so.
And I have this irrational fear ever since. Have you ever seen that movie 연가시? 그거 보고 나서요. 계곡 못 가겠는 거예요. I have this phobia. I know it's so fictional, but still.
Yeah, yes. But I hear you. I mean, we share that fear.
Collective fear, right?
Collective fear.
Well, we're gonna jump into cultural interlude. And by the way, having that 오리고기 though.
Yeah, when you mentioned that.
I was trying to draw a picture and it was just too much. It's such a graphic picture. We're all hungry now. But we got to jump into some cultural interlude stories. So what do you have for us?
Yes. So, Squid Game. Season 3 finally premiered on Netflix on June 27th at 4 p.m. So that's just 3 days ago. According to Flix Patrol, an online content ranking site, Squid Game Season 3 topped the Netflix TV show category in 93 countries as of June 28th.
93 countries.
Yep,
Wow.
yep. So, I mean, it doesn't come to me as a surprise anymore, though. I mean, it's already been season 3 and season 1 and season 2.
Yes.
Basically was a record breaker, too. So, the original Korean series that shocked and thrilled global audiences returned with its final season, bringing a powerful conclusion to the expanded universe introduced in season 2. Rather than simply continuing from the previous season, season 3 heightens the tension with bold and original storytelling that captivates viewers.
I'm curious if our waivers have caught season 3. Have you caught all 3 seasons? For me, I got to, I think, was it episode 3 of the 3rd season, and then I literally passed out. We were watching in our living room, with the speakers on.
Yeah.
And then I woke up and someone was my roommate was tapping me let's go to bed. I'm like, oh, did I fall asleep? But it was really, really late. So the final season has come, and I'm sure at this point, even if you haven't seen it, I remember you saying you didn't watch it yet, right?
I haven't watched it yet, actually.
Are you now gonna watch the trilogy?
So I'm a binge watcher. I'm gonna.
Wow.
So now is the time for me to jump in. I mean, it's gonna be fun.
Because all 3 seasons are out
because
now.
I mean, you guys are already had the fun, right?
Yes.
Me, it's 3 seasons of fun. That's long, and I'll be enjoying it. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm definitely going to watch it.
Well, let's get a short preview. Are you going to give us no spoilers, though, right?
No spoilers
Okay,
because I haven't watched it.
Okay,
so
good.
I don't want spoilers either. So yeah.
Okay.
Just to give you a quick introduction.
Maybe you've been living under a rock.
Yeah,
You ever heard of Squid Game?
Yeah, if there are people out there who are just like me, waiting for all the seasons to come out. So Squid Game tells the story of people who risk their lives to win a prize of 45.6 billion won. It released in 2021. Squid Game holds the title as the most successful Netflix series of all time.
Yes.
Season 1 recorded 265 million views and 2.2 billion viewing hours in its first 28 days.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Right.
Ranking number 1 across both English and non-English categories.
Yes.
Season 2 achieved 192 million views and 1.3 billion viewing hours, making it number 2 among non-English content and number 3 in overall content.
Okay.
If we combine both season 1 and 2, we have an estimated total of 600 million cumulative so-called view equivalents. That means viewing hours divided by total runtime.
I see.
So that's a lot. Okay.
I mean, any which way you cut it.
Anyway, yeah,
It's
it's
Yes.
big. Squid Game also became the first non-English series to win 6 Emmy Awards, gaining both commercial success and critical acclaim.
Right.
Despite initially claiming he would never make a sequel, director Hwang Dong-hyuk actually returned to write and produce seasons 2 and 3 due to the overwhelming response.
I mean, it became this global phenomenon. I mean, it started out I remember when it first came out, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
I think people were captivated by the original ideas behind this. And it was just it just was an evolution, an amazing journey.
Yes.
And so Squid Game definitely going down, in history of OTT platforms. So what can you tell us about the newest season 3?
Yeah, so season 3 was produced alongside season 2. So with a total of 12 episodes across both seasons, the production reportedly cost 100 billion Korean won. So that's around 72 million US dollars.
Yes.
Showcasing the full extent of Korean content production capabilities. The scale of season 3 is reportedly even deeper and broader than previous seasons.
Okay.
As before, contestants fight for survival through childhood games, but the setting has become larger and more imposing. So emotional storylines are explored in depth, such as Taeho, played by actor Kang whose failure to bring ammunition led to a failed rebellion in season 2.
Right.
Hyunju, played by actor Park Sung-hoon, who re-enters the game after being part of the uprising, and Junhee, played by actress Jo Yuri, who enters the island while pregnant with her boyfriend. Boyfriend Myunggi. So Myunggi is played by actor Im Si-won.
That's correct.
Yeah. Their stories portray wounds, solidarity, and sacrifice beyond mere conflict.
I love how you told you gave us the details without giving us, spoilers.
Yeah, I was quite intent on making sure that I don't spill any spoilers.
Because it's so early on, right?
It is.
Just released on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So it does sound like there's a deeper storyline is unfolding. And the thing is this, there were like some major celebrations taking place in Seoul. I was kind of surprised at the grandeur of all the festivities, right?
Yeah. So I can tell you for sure that Squid Game is more than just a video. It's more than just a film. It's a culture. It's a phenomenon, as you said.
Yes.
So people are actually they want to take part in this initiative, right? So I think in that context, a special parade and fan finale event took place on June 28th in Central Seoul to celebrate the release of Squid Game Season 3. The event began with a large-scale parade from Gwanghamun to Seoul Plaza. Although the parade was delayed by about 20 minutes from its original 7:30 p.m. start, the excitement of the crowd never waned.
Okay.
Despite the hot and humid weather,
yes,
countless fans packed the streets to witness the return of Squid Game. The parade featured major symbols from the series and specially crafted character floats with fans taking photos and marching alongside to enjoy the festivities. At Seoul Plaza, a finale event was held where the main cast greeted the audience on stage. Reenactments of memorable scenes from the series further elevated the atmosphere.
Yes.
Lee Jung-jae, who plays the lead role of Song Gi-hun, said, "It's already been 5 to 6 years." Imagine that, 5 to 6 years working with the director.
Sure.
I built many memories with Lee Byung-hwan and the rest of the cast, and I still vividly remember the filming experience. Above all, I sincerely thank all the fans who have supported us through season 3.
Yes, and I like the fact that I saw on social media how the cast members from all 3 seasons kind of joined in on the festivities. It wasn't just about season 3 because obviously season 1 was the wow factor. It was so new and original, right? So is there anything we should know before we dive into season 3? And I know people they either love it or some people don't like it. And some people even on our board saying Taejin says 오징어 게임은 이래서 끝났어야 하는데. No, the thing is it was so in many people's minds so perfect.
Yes.
Just as is.
And I don't think I'll be going in detail about the ratings per se, but we know for sure, and I'm sure a lot of the waivers have seen the news already.
Yes.
That the ratings are pretty divided on the newest season.
Yes.
Because of many things. But,
yes.
I think it's still worth watching it for sure.
Yes.
And this is some of the 감상 포인트 or some of the points that you can actually take into consideration before jumping into season 3.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, before the release, director Hwang Dong-hyuk actually said that Squid Game is best watched without knowing what happens next. So that's where the problem begins because unlike season 1, the presence of many well-known actors made the series easier to predict which characters would survive.
Yes.
And that somewhat reduced the suspense,
That's
so that's
true.
one of the things that we can definitely take into consideration. In season 1, all attention was on Lee Jung-jae as Song Gi-hun, and the cast included relatively lesser-known actors, making it very difficult to guess who would live or become key players. In contrast, season 2 and 3 feature many actors known for leading roles in their series.
Yes.
So naturally, viewers could assume that these actors would last longer in the game, while some were eliminated earlier than expected. Many did indeed survive through both seasons.
Okay.
So by focusing on their finales, season 3 lost some of the fast-pacing and shocking twists that made season 1 so appealing.
Right.
Leaving viewers nostalgic for the original season. Nevertheless, Squid Game season 3 is still relevant because it poses a central and a very interesting question to viewers across all seasons.
Yes.
In a place where humanity is erased, is the last survivor truly the winner or merely the one who lost the least?
Ooh.
The silence beyond the screen quietly responds that even in extreme conditions, the force that sustains society lies in those who set aside selfishness and think of others first.
And I'm thinking of a particular scene, but I cannot. I'm not going to go into it because, like,
you'll be spoiling it.
Yeah. The whole
Don't spoil it for me. I
selfishness.
haven't watched it yet.
There's a whole big scene where there's an act of selfishness and selflessness as well. So,
Yeah.
definitely, worth thinking about if you haven't watched it yet.
So
Yes.
this makes definitely worth watching season 3.
Yes. So, this is it. This is a final season for Squid Games, right?
Yes. So the Squid Game series began in 2021. So that's already, 4 years ago, right? And it will conclude with season 3.
Yes.
So at one of the press conferences, Squid Game, so director Hwang Dong-hyuk actually stated there that he has no plans for season 4. I'm pretty sure he's already gone through a lot of,
Yes.
hardships writing season 2 and 3. But, however, the Squid Game universe is still expected to expand through various spin-offs and related projects.
Yes.
So it's not totally over yet. We will have to keep an eye out, but Squid Game universe will continue to expand, and that's, I don't know, like, is it?
Should they?
I mean, should they or should they not? This is something that we can ask the waivers. I mean,
The U.S. version I hear is already in the works.
Oh,
For
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
What you said is correct.
Yeah.
The
okay,
universe is
okay.
expanding.
Yeah, the universe will expand then. Yeah, it's not just
definitely.
the assumption. It will expand.
Speaking of Squid Game, here at BEFM, there is something called 부징어 game.
부징어 game.
If you haven't checked it out, if you can go to our site or you can go to our YouTube channel and you can definitely check it out. And it's a lot of fun. And it's, of course, a parody. So it's all, supposed to be fun and games.
So it's a combination of 오징어 game and Busan.
Busan. Yes,
That-
부징어 game.
Hence, ergo, 부징어. I mean, 이게 더 뭐가 기억에 남아요.
그럼요. 부징어.
부징어.
But it just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it's good. It really hangs there.
Yes.
But definitely check it out. There are 2 episodes. I think one episode currently available, and the new or second episode coming up this Friday.
Oh,
so make sure to check it out.
Dun.
Yeah. So I'll be binge watching both Squid Game and 부징어 game.
All right, well, we're going to call it a wrap for today's cultural interlude. But thank you so much for going in depth into the details behind this phenomenon.
My pleasure.
And we'll check in with you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it is time to wrap up for hour number 1 already. We have more in hour number 2. For now, we have We Ride by Rihanna. Enjoy. I'll be back at 8.
We ride, it's till the day that we die. It's really about 1:45. I'm thinking of everything that we become, and I hate it. I thought we could make it, but I'm ready to dead this. Just wanna forget about it. I saw her pictures in the letter she sent. You had me thinking you were out with your friends. I'm so foolish, play me like I'm stupid, 'cause I thought it was just you and I. Now I look back on the time that we spent, and I see it in my mind playing over and over again. 'Cause for right now, you got me breaking down, and I just can't figure out why. But this is what you said. But we ride, it's till the day that we die. We used to say, we ride, it's till the day that we die.
지역 경제를 다시 일으킵니다. 청년, 소상공인, 중소기업. 경제의 중심은 바로 당신입니다. 이 캠페인은 부산 경제의 미래를 준비하는 종합 지원 플랫폼 부산경제진흥원이 함께합니다.
Welcome to Busan. Let me show you around. Here you can find the world's largest musical in-ground fountain and the world's only UN memorial cemetery. Stroll along the coast and explore the largest mountain fortress in Korea. As well as all this, there are so many tourist attractions, beautiful exhibitions, vibrant culture, convenient facilities, and delicious foods unique to Busan. With all the beauty and charm of the amazing city of Busan, you'll find yourself right at home in this ever-changing tourism paradise. So stay with us a while. Busan, your #1 tourist destination. Your home, away from home. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, Busan 영어 방송.
My school, my story. School reporters are bringing you the latest news from their campus. From April to December, the school reporters will cover all the exciting moments of school life, bringing you student voices, campus news, and special interviews. Catch the broadcast every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Don't miss the chance to hear our student stories on the School Reporters broadcast.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
It's now 8 o'clock. This is hour number 2 of Morning Wave in Busan. This is Spotlight News. President Lee Jae-myung names 6 minister nominations. President Lee Jae-myung yesterday named his nominations for the Ministries of Finance, Justice, Interior, Education, Trade, and Health, nearly completing his cabinet lineup. President Lee tapped veteran bureaucrat Gu Yun-chul as finance minister and Chungnam National University architecture professor Lee Jin-suk as education minister. 5-term lawmakers Chung Sung-ho and Yoon Ho-jung have been named nominees for the Ministers of Justice and Interior, respectively. He also picked Tusan Enerbility Marketing President Kim 정은과 for the Minister of Trade, Energy, and Industry, and former Disease Control Agency Chief Chung Eun-kyung as his nominee for Health and Welfare Minister. Ex-President Yoon requests to postpone summons. Former President Yoon Suk-yeol's attorneys have asked the special counsel to change the date of his next summons for questioning from today to after July 3rd. Yoon's legal team said that the schedule is extremely tight and does not take into consideration his health and the right to prepare for ongoing trials as they submitted a written request to reschedule. The special prosecution led by Cho Eun-suk notified Yoon and his legal team to appear for the next round of questioning tomorrow at 9 a.m., saying that the date is not up for negotiations. Household loans near 7 trillion won in June. The increase in household loans in South Korea will likely come to nearly 7 trillion won for June, for a 5th consecutive increase amid a spike in Seoul area home prices. According to data from the financial authorities yesterday, the increase in household loans for June will likely record the highest in 10 months, with a spike in home mortgage loans. Experts estimate, however, that the figure may decrease by a considerable margin as the financial authorities have implemented strict regulations, including capping mortgages at 600 million won. Heat wave records hottest temperature for the year. A heat wave blazed in over the southern part of the country over the weekend, with Gyeongju recording the hottest day of the year yesterday at 37.5 degrees Celsius. The record in Gyeongju was the second hottest for June since record-taking began, with mid-30 temperatures recorded across Daegu and Gyeongbuk regions, prompting a heat wave warning. The heat wave is expected to continue for the time being across the country, as authorities have cautioned children and the elderly to refrain from outside activities. U.S. to send tariff letters to countries in coming days. U.S. President Donald Trump said that the U.S. will send letters to every country's assigning tariff rates as the July negotiations deadline looms near. Trump said that while the country has been making deals, he'd rather just send them a letter assigning a 20, 25, 40, or 50% tariff, adding that he likely won't be extending the pause. The U.S. president cited Japan as an example of a country with ongoing trade negotiations to which he can still send a letter, emphasizing that the letters would be the end of trade talks. Trump also complained that the trade imbalance between the U.S. and Japan in their respective automobile and imports and exports was unfair. And this was Spotlight News. It's time for Waga. Haley's back in the studio with us.
Hello.
Yes. And so, we were talking about this for our text topic, the fact that, summer's in full swing and people have already been crowding beaches and mountain creeks. And we really have to be careful when swimming in or near water.
Absolutely. So just over this past weekend, there was a teenager who was swimming with his friends at a creek in Changsu County in Jeonbuk Province, and he unfortunately died from drowning. So his friends called 119 when they were out swimming, but they just didn't see him for a while and they couldn't find him. The rescue workers did find him in the water in a state of cardiac arrest. He was rushed to the hospital but didn't make it. The police are investigating this case. Also in Inja County, Gangwon Province, a 66-year-old man was also found dead. He was actually picking water snails. These are called dasilgi in Korean, at a mountain creek when he drowned in the water that was apparently 2 meters deep. And these creeks, and I know a lot of our waivers have been saying they do love the 계곡, the valley, or the creeks, but they can be dangerous because, well, they're in the mountains, so the ground is very uneven, and you often don't know how deep it is, and the ground can just drop off all of a sudden. And unlike beaches, most of them don't have lifeguards.
That's true. And I see that you have brought in numbers in terms of just how dangerous this season can be.
Right. So according to the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, the KDCA, in the last 5 years, a total of 605 people have been brought across 23 emergency rooms nationwide for drowning and drowning-related accidents. And by the way, keep in mind that these are numbers only from the 23 ERs that do participate in this survey and monitoring.
Okay.
So of the patients, there was an interesting pattern. 73% were men. So men were very highly more likely to get involved in water-related accidents than women. A little under 30% were children under the age of 10, which makes sense. So also please keep them strapped into life jackets.
Yes.
And then we also do see a quarter of the victims in their 70s or older. Actually, of the fatalities, 43% of the deceased were 7 year older. So they definitely have harder time swimming.
Yes.
So the drowning accidents do start increasing in the month of June, accounting for almost 10% of the total, and they spike to 12.8% and 15.1% respectively for the months of July and August. So we are really heading into these months.
Yes.
Almost half the locations were outdoors, the sea and the river. Also, it's followed by leisure facilities, residential buildings, and sports facilities. The point being they can happen to anyone, anywhere, so please be careful.
Yes, indeed. So let's talk about some of the preventive measures.
Right. So again, if you can, wear life jackets, but according to the KDCA, warming up beforehand, 준비 운동, right? Do not go into the water immediately after eating. Experts recommend at least a half an hour break.
Yes.
Especially, again, for children, cannot emphasize life jackets enough. Also, I think we may have talked about this, wearing very, very bright colored clothing. There were some experiments done where they take pictures of different colored bathing suits and how they are visible or completely not visible in the water.
Okay.
Even white, which you would think would show, no. It just blends in completely. Of course, anything blues or greens. I believe neon orange, very bright neon green, and pinks showed up the most. So you really want to be
fluorescent.
Very fluorescent.
Yes.
Also, this is something that I didn't realize, but not having any gum or candy in your mouth while you're in the water, because you can choke on it.
Oh, yes.
Right. So also wear sturdy shoes that strap on instead of like flip-flops or slippers that can slip off while you're in the water.
Oh, great tips because we want to be safe this summer. You know, summer also means those pesky pests and bugs, they're here.
Oh, I just got goosebumps. Just okay. I wrote the story, but all right, it's love-bug season, and we're talking about the actual insects, not like it's a season of love. So sorry, so I had to. These red-backed, short-haired flies, or 붉은 등 무단 털파리, they're known as colloquially love bugs because the mated pairs remain mated for days. So you see them in really.
No, because that's why we say, oh, look at those love bugs, because they're so like attached literally at the hip, or they're like 팔짱 끼고 있어.
Ugh.
Okay.
that's my response. Anyways, Seoul, especially Seoul and other areas around there.
Yes.
I mean, knock on wood that they never come down south, but they see huge swarms of these, swarms in recent years, really. I've been seeing reports on them for years and years. According to Seoul City, last year they had almost 1,000 public complaints, and these are people who felt compelled to write and file complaints in the city about these so-called love bugs. Again, though, I mean, we say this year on and year in and year out, they're beneficial insects for the ecosystem. They purify the soil, help pollinate, 수분, and they are important food sources for fish, birds, and just generally for the food chain at large.
Yes.
Right.
So, and then we have a message from 두둥님. 인간 러브버그도 짜증나.
제일 짜증나요.
죽겠구만.
They're the worst.
Why?
They're the worst. It's hot.
귀엽지 않아요?
아니요.
아니요? Okay. Okay, so what were we talking about? Okay, we're talking about bugs. Yes. So you're right. We do emphasize, these bugs. They're not harmful to human beings, but like,
I know they're not pleasant to look at. No insects are, but because people do call into the city to like spread insecticide, but there can be more harms done than benefits if you just kill them all off.
Yes.
And they really don't hurt humans. And by the way, good news though, they are gone in and out in 2 weeks. So just hang in there.
Bear with them.
Right. We do see an increase in numbers in June and July, which is their peak like mating and breeding season.
Right.
But adult males only live for up to 4 days and females up to a week. And they do lay hundreds of eggs. Not a lot of them hatch. So they don't really have a large survival rate.
I laugh because I'm like, yes, it's always a female, so they last longer.
They do. They always live longer.
그렇죠. But mosquitoes, on the other hand, are harmful to humans. And some local governments, they are going all out to combat them.
Right. So I spent some time outdoors this weekend, and I have like about 5 or 6 mosquito bites. I keep itching them. Yeah. So local governments and even residents have kind of declared an all-out war against mosquitoes.
Yes.
And I say war because we're talking drones. They are being employed to spray mosquito insecticide. So this is more effective in getting into the nooks and crannies that the vehicles can't get into. By the way, the insecticide, they are made from naturally extracted substances from apparently chrysanthemums.
Really?
They kill or they actually freeze or paralyze the mosquito nervous system. Yeah, but they're, of course, not harmful to humans. So Gangnam District, they came up with a method, reported a 27% decrease in the mosquito population. All right.
Yes.
Some citizens have also formed volunteer groups, Zero Mosquito supporters. So they actually look for bodies of water, right? Still water, 고인물, where mosquitoes do lay their eggs.
Yes.
And if they see mosquito larvae, they put in chemicals or insecticide to kill them off. More eco-friendly or more natural way, Suncheon City has released loaches or 미꾸라지, the mud loaches that apparently feed on the mosquito larvae.
Oh, really?
Yeah, science.
They're useful.
Right.
Well, I keep on laughing because people are sending in messages, like joking about.
I love when they chime in.
Yeah, the love bugs, and I don't know if this is true. I saw on the gram recently, like if you have a mosquito bite, to warm up like a metal spoon, not like too like scorching hot.
Are you like? 지져요?
No, 진짜 지져요. But not like where it's like.
But I heard
scorching hot. Right?
That's torture. But if you run it under hot water, it apparently like numbs it.
Right.
It just kind of kills off the sting.
So I think that's kind of a similar vein. And,
right.
And apparently Yeji PD님 saw the same. We have the same algorithm. So
We're all.
She saw it on the gram as well. All right. Last week we had a special interview on the purported health living videos, and touching up upon things like disorder, eating disorders, and body image issues. And this next story gets into that a little further.
Right. So trigger warning. We are going to be talking about eating disorder, ED, and anorexia, and this is an extreme case of how harmful that can be.
Okay.
So a Turkish beauty influencer, Nihal Kandan, she passed away last week from complications from her anorexia, 거식증. So she was a beauty influencer who had over 900,000 subscribers, and she was on a fashion program on TV and had expanded her brand. However, according to reports, for the past 2 years, she had been struggling with anorexia, but also made that very public, sustaining herself by only, drinking mostly coffee and carbonated drinks. So she had lost 40 kilograms.
40 kilograms?
And she was never, overweight or obese to begin with.
Okay.
Because she was only 23 kilos at the time of her death. So she had been under treatment for anorexia and suffered a heart attack from complications from this disease.
Right. And so as we did address with our expert, this is a serious issue that affects a specific group more than others, though.
Right. So according to the Turkish Women's Association, which released a statement, the incident once again demonstrates how societal pressures and expectations regarding women's bodies can take lives. And they also criticized TV programs and societal attitudes that objectify women.
Right.
So anorexia, 거식증, it is a serious eating disorder that's marked by kind of this obsessive drive to lose weight, and that leads to often food refusal.
Yes.
Of course, we do go back to societal pressures, social media, especially these days, celebrity culture promoting these unrealistic body ideals. And many experts say, including our expert from last Friday, young women, and we're talking children, are particularly vulnerable. In South Korea, the KDCA says that 3 out of 10 women in their 20s, again going back to the younger women group, who are of normal weight, they actually think of themselves as overweight. And 54% of women in their 20s have tried to lose weight, including 16% who are actually medically underweight.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes, and Tommy and a souvenir, you guys are saying 23kg 뺀 게 아니라 23kg였어요. So
and she was of fairly average height, by the way. Yeah.
Tragic story. For our final story, let's talk about, we went the whole realm, not pests, but pets.
Yes.
Here
With
in
the S and the T.
South Korea. Yes.
The
What
cute,
about
the
pets?
cute cuddly friends.
Yes.
Or some people have reptiles, then,
To each his own.
All right. The number of families or people who have pets, well, that population is going up and up and up, now at 30%. So this is according to a KB report on pets for 2025. At the end of last year, some 5.91 million household had pets, increase of 1.1% compared to the year before. And when we're counting individuals, 15.46 million individuals who have pets. A lot of them dogs, 4.55 million household with dogs, 1.37 million with cats. So, yeah.
So I fall into the 1.37.
You do.
But I've had dogs my entire life. Let's talk about what life with pets look like.
Right. So, the thing, alone time. 80% of the households said there are periods, of course, when the pets were left alone at home.
Yes.
On average, pets were left alone for about 5 hours and 54 minutes. So almost 6 hours every day, which, working hours, if you factor that in. Naturally, money is a big issue.
Yes.
People spend an average of 194,000 won per month. So it's almost 20만 won per month. And this jumped by 4만 원, 40,000 won compared to just the year before.
Yes.
Biggest spending, of course, food, but also treats, health supplements, daily supplements like the potty pads and grooming. Also, of course, when pets got sick,
Yes.
taking them to the vet, 70% said that they had to spend money for medical treatments. On average, 1 million won, a little over 100만 won, which also was double the figure from the year before.
Wow.
However, only under 13% of the population, the pet population, had pet insurance.
Right, and we don't have pet insurance, and when we went to get some dental work done for one of our cats, it was 100만 원 넘었어.
So she needs braces.
Not braces. 뭐가 두 개가 썩어서 like they're cavity. I don't know. They're so we had to extract 2 teeth, and that was over 100만 원. So
Right.
as much as we love our pets, it's not easy.
No, it is not. And I
Yes.
think that's evidence how much you love them because they're hard. So
Yes,
difficulties or inconveniences. 39% said that they experience some hardship when they're trying to travel.
Yes.
34% money. Others, 34% hair and bathroom issues. So just kind of keeping your home clean. Right, and
Yes.
not smelling.
Uh-huh.
Also, while 76% said they're very happy with their pets, also 74% said they will continue to have pets. Interestingly, a little under half said they'll recommend this to a friend.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah. But then again, I think that points to responsibility of we understand because we pay
Yes.
an arm and a leg and for 2 teeth and we can't really travel all that much. It is
It's a real thing.
lifestyle. The struggle's real.
We feel it every day. But thank you so much for going over all the Woggly news. We'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great day.
All right. Now we're going to get our updated traffic and weather report out to you. It is now 8:19, and here is your updated traffic report. There's an accident on Pansongno going towards the Alak intersection. It's right in front of the Myeongjang water purification plant. Also, backed up on Chungnyeoldaero from Dongnae intersection to Dongnae High School. It's also congested on Hakjangno from Busan Detention Center to Hakjeong intersection. There's also backup on Chungjangdaero from pier number 4 to pier number 3. It's also looking slow on Pyeongno from the Daeyeon ramp to Gwangan Bridge. Currently, it has inched up to 28 degrees Celsius here in Busan with a heat wave special report, 폭염특보, and a heat wave impact report, 폭염 영향예보, over the city. The daytime high will go up to 31 degrees under clear skies. Elsewhere in the nation, it's just going to be a hot one with a heat wave special report over parts of Gyeonggi, Gangwon, Chungcheong, and much of the southern region. Showers are forecast for the capital area, Gangwon, Gyeongbuk, and parts of Gyeongnam in the afternoon. This was your traffic and weather. It is time for a special interview. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled to limit federal judges' ability to issue nationwide injunctions, which reduces their power to block U.S. President Donald Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship. So while Trump called the decision a major victory, critics warn it could allow the executive branch to bypass constitutional protections. So the ruling includes a 30-day delay before taking effect, giving lower courts time to reconsider existing injunctions. So we're going to find out more about this issue because it is highly involved and complicated. We have joining us today, Professor Jill Hasday, Distinguished McKnight University Professor and Centennial Professor of Law at the University Minnesota Law School. So let's say hi to her first. Hi, thanks for coming on to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so first of all, Professor, if you could explain birthright citizenship and also if you could get into the Supreme Court's recent decision regarding President Donald Trump's executive order.
So birthright citizenship is a constitutional principle of the United States that says anyone born in the United States is a citizen at birth, except if their parents are here on diplomatic passports.
Yes.
This case was not directly about the constitutionality of Trump's order rolling back birthright citizenship. Instead, it was about whether district courts, that's the lower federal courts, have the power to issue nationwide injunctions. An injunction is just a legal order stopping a policy from going into effect. 22 states and DC had sued to challenge the policy, and they had won a nationwide injunction, which basically meant the order wouldn't go into effect until the litigation was completed. And in this case, the court said, actually, district courts don't generally have a power to issue nationwide injunctions, which is a big change. And that the only time a plaintiff can get an injunction that applies beyond themselves is by showing that they can't get complete relief unless there's a broader injunction.
I see. Thanks for clarifying what's going on and why we're talking about this today. So, namely, which states or regions could most likely be affected by this decision and which ones might remain unaffected?
The 22 states and DC that sued to challenge, which are basically the states controlled by Democrats, the order is not going to go into effect in those states while the litigation is ongoing.
Okay.
It's less clear about the other states that haven't sued. I don't think that the Republican-led administrations in those states is going to sue, but individuals are already bringing suits and they're attempting to stop the orders from going into effect in these Republican-led states through a variety of other procedures, in particular something called class actions, which allows you to sue on behalf of everyone else who's in the same boat as you are.
Yes.
And we just don't know whether the class action strategy is going to be successful or not. As you said, there's 30 days before anything happens. So in the next month, we'll have a better sense of that.
Right. And so the Supreme Court didn't actually rule on whether Trump's policy is constitutional or not. That's important to emphasize once again, as you said, Professor. And given that many legal experts emphasize that, birthright citizenship is enshrined in the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, and it can't be altered by executive order alone. So first of all, is this true, just to make sure? And if you could also assess the constitutionality, the legitimacy of what he's trying to enforce.
Okay, so two great points. The first is that the U.S. Constitution is the supreme law in the United States. The president cannot change the Constitution by executive order. In fact, executive orders are just supposed to be the president giving guidance to the executive branch how they should carry out laws that the Congress has enacted. So the president by executive order cannot change birthright citizenship. I think that the president's, every court that's looked at it and scholars for more than a century think that Trump's executive order is unconstitutional. The 14th Amendment became part of the Constitution after the American Civil War. It begins with what's known as the Birthright Citizenship Clause. I'd actually just like to read it so people can see how clear it is. It says, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. And as I said, almost everyone thinks that is a very clear statement of the United States' commitment to birthright citizenship.
Yes. And then that brings us to our next issue where, the euphemism is, anchor babies, where there are, families where the children who are born in the States, I guess, according to the 14th Amendment, are considered, they are Americans, U.S. citizens. But, and then the whole issue about their parents as well. What is Trump trying to do with this policy? What point is he trying to make?
Well, I can't get into his mind, but I have a few thoughts. So first, on anchor babies. So if you're a U.S. citizen, you can sponsor your parents for citizenship, but only once you turn 21. So actually, U.S. law is already designed to circumvent this idea that you could come to the United States, have a citizen baby, and then immediately have a path to citizenship for yourself. So there's a tremendous time delay.
Yes.
I think it's very clear that Donald Trump is generally anti-immigration. And this is this is part of it, and it appeals more generally to xenophobia and sentiments of that kind.
Yes.
One thing that's interesting about this order is it doesn't just apply to babies who are born to parents who are in the United States illegally. It also applies to babies born to parents who are in the United States temporarily. So, for instance, if you're in the United States on a student visa or an investment visa, any situation where you don't have a permanent right to remain, your children will get birthright citizenship.
Mm-hmm. So that was going to be my next question. So how would Trump's executive order affect a baby born in that circumstance that you just described, Professor? Because, there are, you're a couple, you're students, or one party's a student, you're in the States, and maybe you have a baby. I mean, would this executive order apply in this case as well?
If one parent is a U.S. citizen, the baby gets birthright. This is under the Trump order.
Yes.
Even under the Trump order, if you have one citizen parent, the baby is fine, gets U.S. citizenship. But if both parents are here temporarily, Trump wants to deny that baby U.S. citizenship. And some of those babies would actually be left stateless.
Yes.
Because if your parents are from a country that requires you to be born in the country to get citizenship, and then generally one of the advantages of U.S. birthright citizenship is any baby born here has a citizenship, is not stateless. But some of those babies, if the Trump administration is able to deny them birthright citizenship, wouldn't be a citizen of any state, which is a very vulnerable position to be in.
Indeed. So I guess we're going to have to keep an eye on this. In the meantime, how might this decision affect immigrant communities, both in the short term and long term? There are so many communities in the U.S. that are, maybe majority-wise made up of immigrants.
I think the order has already spread tremendous fear and confusion. And if, in fact, the order goes into effect in some states, it's going to be just disastrous. I mean, not only in terms of denying children a passport, but there's a lot of government programs that depend on being a U.S. citizen. If you get into the nittiest, of nitty gritty, this means that they're not going to be issued Social Security numbers to these kids. So these kids wouldn't be set up to legally work in the United States. I mean, it would be a disastrous outcome.
Yes. And for a final wrap-up question today, Professor, what precedent might this ruling set for even future presidential administrations, not just the Trump administration, but for future administrations?
This is a really important decision, even beyond the birthright citizenship question, which is super important.
Right.
Because it means that potentially unconstitutional policies can be in effect for years before they finally make it to the Supreme Court. In fact, I think this decision actually could create an incentive not to appeal to the Supreme Court. So let's take this case. Even with the very right-leaning Supreme Court we have now, I think it would be very difficult for the Supreme Court to uphold the birthright citizenship order on the merits. So suppose Trump decides, well, I'm going to lose in a lot of district courts, but if there's a few district courts where I win, I just won't appeal to the Supreme Court. I'll preserve a situation where I'm able to deny birthright citizenship in some states and not others. And it's not my preferred outcome, but it's better than losing everywhere when I get to the Supreme Court. So it creates an incentive for the president. First of all, it allows the president to get away with things for years, but also creates an incentive for them to actually avoid judicial review.
Well, we're going to have to watch what the ramifications are of this decision. But thank you so much for schooling us on the basics of what's going on in the States right now. Thank you, Professor.
Thanks for having me.
This was Professor Jill Hasday, and we talked about Trump's birthright citizenship order and the legal ongoings that are happening right now. And of course, there is still more to come, so we'll keep an eye on this story. For now, though, let's get to our next song. This is I'm Like a Bird by Alessia Cara.
You're beautiful, that's for sure. And never, ever fade. You're you're lovely, but it's not for sure that I won't ever change. And though my love is real, and though my love is true, I'm like a bird, I'll only fly away. I don't know where my soul is, I don't know where my home is. Baby, all I need for you. And I'm like a bird, I'll only fly away. I don't know where my soul is, I don't know where my home is. Yeah. And your faith in me brings me to tears, even after all these years. And it pains me so much to tell that you don't know me that well. And though my love is real, and though my love is true, I'm like a bird, I'll only fly away. I don't know where my soul is, I don't know where my home is. And baby, all I need for you is I'm like a bird, I'll only fly away. I don't know where my soul is, I don't know where my home is. Baby, all I need for you to know. It's not that I wanna say goodbye, it's just that every time you try to tell me that you love me, each and every single day, I know I'm gonna have to eventually give you away. And though my love is rare, and though my love is true, I'm just scared that we may fall through. I'm like a bird, I'll only fly away. I don't know where my soul is, I don't know where my home is. And baby, all I need for you to, I'm like a bird, I'll only fly away. I don't know where my soul is, I don't know where my home is. Baby, all I need for you to know is I'm like a bird, I don't know where my soul is, I don't know where my home is. And baby, all I need for you to know is I don't know where my soul is, I don't know where my soul is, I don't know where my home is.
It's time for News in Depth. We have Claire in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, before we get into the serious news, something a little lighter.
Yes.
I want our listeners to get to know you better, Claire. So, we're talking about favorite places to swim, whether it's in, by the beach, in the ocean, or river, lakes, or, in Korea, creeks like Kaegok are so popular. Or maybe like a swimming pool. What do you prefer?
For serious swimming,
For serious swimming?
it will be 수영장, swimming pool.
But what about for just like leisurely?
That's a beach, like
the
all
beach.
ocean. Yes,
Yes, I
Need
agree.
The breeze and sun.
So good. I love that combination. I just don't like it when I'm in the water and you're like eyes sting. That's the worst.
Yes,
But-
and after that, sticky.
the stickiness,
body.
right?
Yes.
All right. Thanks for sharing. We're going to jump into News in Depth. So we're going to dive into our first headline. This new cap on mortgage loans, Claire, this is a 600 million won limit across the board. That's bound to shake up the housing market, I'm thinking.
It really is. This is not just a small tweak. It's been called a financial turning point in the Seoul housing market. For years, buyers, especially young families and professionals, have relied on loans to buy homes in the city. This new rule changes the game overnight.
Yeah. So what what exactly changed?
The government introduced this cap on June 28th. From now on, in Seoul and other regulated zones, you can only borrow up to 600 million won, yugok, for a home. No matter your income or the price of the property, that might sound generous, but in the Seoul market, it's not.
Right. But can you explain why for people who might not be in the know?
Apartment prices have been rising rapidly, especially in areas like Gangnam and Seochogu districts.
Yes.
The government saw signs of a speculative bubble forming and wanted to act before it spread further. The aim is to cool down demand and make sure people aren't overstretching their finances.
Okay, so what does this mean in practical terms?
So if you're trying to buy an apartment in say Mapo or Seongdong-gu, where the average price is about 1.5 to 1.6 billion won, 16억, you'd previously be able to borrow over 1 billion won. Now you're capped at 600 million won. That means you need to prepare at least 900 million 9억 in cash. And that's for an average property.
Yes.
For a 3 billion won unit in Gangnam-gu district, you now need 2.4 billion won, 24억 in cash.
But I'm thinking, if you have 2.4 billion won in cash, you could probably just buy the property. I'm just saying, Anyhow, so that's why we're talking about this, right? That's a big jump in what people need to pay up front. And this applies across the board to everyone?
Yes, even those who previously qualified for larger loans due to higher income or solid credit history, even newlywed couples or first-time buyers, their special loans also got trimmed. It's a blanket policy.
I want to know about the reaction on the ground.
Real estate offices have gone quiet. One broker in Ahyeondong said the phones used to ring all day long since the announcement silence. Some buyers who were about to sign cancelled outright.
Okay.
Others are in panic mode, trying to rethink where and how they can buy.
So are people maybe leaving the Seoul market because of this?
That's the fear, an outward migration. Places like Busan, Suwon, and even Incheon could see an uptick in demand. These cities still have average prices under 600 million won, which means buyers can still get full loans there. But if demand surges, prices could rise there too.
I see, but it kind of sounds like a ripple effect.
Exactly. Experts call it a balloon effect. Pop the pressure in one part of the housing market and it expands it somewhere else.
Yes.
Gyeonggi province could see inflated prices in the next 6 months.
And what about for investors?
So that will be out of the picture for now. Since you have to move into the home within 6 months,
yes,
you cannot buy just to rent it out.
Okay.
That cuts off a big slice of the real estate pie. Plus, in many areas, you now need special government approval even to buy.
Wow. So I hear that this isn't the only tightening measure. What about the banks?
So yes, that's another big development because this policy rolled out so quickly. Literally the next day, many banks didn't have time to update their internal systems. So over the weekend, they closed all online and mobile channels for housing and personal loans.
Wow. So even mobile banking?
Yes. For example, KB halted all mobile-based credit loan applications. Hana and Shinhan paused mobile banking loan applications. And banks like Uri and Donghyup stopped both.
Okay.
Even internet-only banks like Kakao Bank temporarily blocked their digital loan services.
Well, I imagine this caused a lot of inconvenience for people.
Absolutely. One borrower said it plainly. If I need money on a weekend, I can't go to the branch.
Right.
And now I can't use the app either, especially for people who cannot take time off work during the week. This was a big disruption.
Okay, so what happens now?
Banks say the system's update should finish in about a week. But nobody wants to be the first to reopen mobile loans. If they do, they could get flooded with applications. It's a bit of a standoff.
It's kind of a 눈치 game almost,
yes,
waiting game.
Exactly.
And if people do go in person, what happens?
They'll find that in-person mortgage loans now carry higher interest rates than mobile loans did. So not only is it less convenient, it's also more expensive.
Oh, yes. And that is not a good combo.
It is. And with 80% of personal loans and about 10% of mortgage typically handled online, this temporary closure is a major shift.
Indeed. It seems like the whole system is adapting, but in real time, it's happening very quickly.
Yes, and we'll need to keep watching how the market reacts in the coming weeks.
We're going to leave that story there for now and move to our next story. So a new month, I mean, I keep on saying it, today's the end of June.
Yeah.
A new month means new rules for the national pension. So Claire, what's changing from July 1st?
So it comes down to how much you earn.
Okay.
The pension system in Korea sets a cap and a floor for how your monthly contribution is calculated. Starting tomorrow, the cap will rise from 6.17 million won to 6.37 million won.
Okay.
And the floor from 390,000 to 400,000 won.
Yes.
These changes will remain in effect for the next 12 months.
Well, who's going to feel this the most?
So that would be high-income earners, and the self-employed will likely feel the biggest difference. For someone earning more than 6.37 million won, their contribution increased by 18,000 won, 18,000 won per month. But if they're self-employed or freelance, they pay the full amount themselves, so that's a direct monthly hit.
Ooh, yes. And what about on the lower end?
Those earning less than 400,000 won will now contribute based on that new floor, so a small bump of about 900 won, 900 won each month. That might sound minor, but for people on tight budgets, every bit counts. And for this group, even small changes in benefits later on can make a big difference.
Well, we looked at the high income earners and on the lower end of the spectrum. What about like for the average worker in the middle?
So most won't notice a difference unless their salary is right at the threshold. But it's still an important moment to take stock. Even though the adjustment may be automatic, your pension outcome depends on many factors. Your contribution period, your income trajectory, and even your career choices.
So is this adjustment tied to inflation?
Not directly to consumer inflation, but to wage growth. The Ministry of Health and Welfare uses a rolling average of the national income increase over the past 3 years. This year's change, which is 3.3%, is based on that index. It's a way to ensure pensions reflect real income trends.
And I hear that there's a historical reason for this. Is this correct?
Definitely. Between 1995 and 2010, the cap was frozen at 3.6 million won per month. That meant many workers were contributing based on outdated earnings, and as a result, their future payouts lagged behind.
Okay.
After reforms in 2010, Korea moved toward an automatic annual adjustment system.
Is this change a part of a larger trend in pension reform?
Yes, Korea is trying to future-proof its pension system. With one of the world's fastest aging populations, there's pressure to ensure the fund remains solvent while still providing meaningful support. The government is also reviewing more comprehensive reforms like delaying the pension eligibility age or increasing the contribution rate.
Yes.
But those are long-term battles. This annual adjustment is one small but steady step.
If I have it correct, if I understood it, it seems like it's less about today's paycheck and more about tomorrow's, I guess, peace of mind?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct. It's like watering a plant.
Okay.
You won't see results right away, but over time it builds into something life-sustaining. A few thousand won each month now might mean hundreds of thousands or even millions of won in benefits when you retire.
I see. So if you had to give any final tips on the research that you did for our listeners.
Yes, don't just rely on the system. It's a good time to review your personal retirement plan too. Whether it's an employment pension, personal savings, or investment, diversify. The national pension is just one pillar of retirement security.
Oh, that's a great point that you made at the end. It's just one pillar, meaning one
of
part.
many.
Yes. shouldn't have to rely on it solely. All right, let's move on to another story. Something a little lighter, a bit glitzier, though, no less controversial. Last week, we talked about Jeff Bezos. He was set to tie the knot with Lauren Sanchez. It was supposed to be held in Venice. The wedding did happen. It went down. But it has stirred quite the debate, right?
It really has.
Yes.
On the surface, it was the ultimate luxury affair.
Yes.
Jeff Bezos marrying journalist Lauren Sanchez on the romantic canals of Venice, surrounded by celebrities and VIPs. But beneath the glamour, it became a lightning rod for local frustration and long-standing concerns about over-tourism, displacement, and inequality.
Great, points to be made. But first, let's start with the scale of the event. I mean, it was big, but how big?
It was huge. A guest list that included Leonardo DiCaprio, Bill Gates, and other high-profile figures. Guests reportedly arrived in via private jets, exclusive yachts, and water taxis.
That's right.
There were temporary mooring bans in certain areas to make space for the wedding flotilla. Some city squares were temporarily off limits to ordinary residents.
I'm laughing because I'm like, if I were a resident of that area. Anyhow, let's get the local reaction.
The local, of course, we can imagine strongly negative, especially among long-time Venetians. At least 500 protesters marched through the city, many holding placards that read, "Venice is not for sale."
Ooh.
Others hung large banners from historic bridges. The protest wasn't just about Bezos. It was about his wedding represented the increasing commercialization of a historic city.
Right. So it wasn't about just one event, although, I mean, this was Target. I mean, it was kind of part of the broader pattern of what's been happening.
Indeed. Venice has seen population decline for decades, partly due to rising property prices and declining livability.
Yes.
When a billionaire's wedding closes parts of the city and adds to congestion and pollution, it underscores the feeling that the city now caters more to outsiders than its own people.
So I do want to get the other side. So did the wedding organizers at least try to offset everything that was going on?
They did a bit. Bezos reportedly donated $3 million to Venice, and the ceremony was moved from the city's main island to a quieter, less disruptive venue. But for many, the donation was seen as a symbolic gesture rather than a solution.
Ooh, so what's the government's position on this?
That's split. Some city officials defended the wedding, arguing it was an opportunity to promote high-quality, low-footprint tourism. Others worried it sent the wrong message, that Venice's cultural heritage could be bought for the right price. The deputy mayor said, "We're not here to police who gets married where."
So that does tie into this whole global conversation, correct?
Absolutely. From Paris to Lisbon to Seoul, cities are grappling with how to handle extreme wealth, foreign investment, and events that reshape public space. The line between celebration and gentrification is getting thinner.
Yes, and like one of our listeners, Umberto, said, I would be extra angry. Meaning, I'm sure many people, especially the local residents, it kind of feels like you're being asked to kind of step aside,
Yeah, move aside.
Move away. So definitely a lot to think about. But thank you for coming in today, going over all the stories in depth. And we look forward to next week with you as well. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you. See you next week.
All right, everybody. So this was, of course, News in Depth with Claire, because it's Monday morning. And it is now time to say goodbye. The thing is this, we went over so many issues from this extravagant wedding to local stories as well and our special interview. I hope you enjoyed it all. This is Kubek by Dynamic Duo, wishing you a marvelous Monday. Bye, everybody.
Yeah. Alright. It's so wonderful. 난 핸들이 고장 안에 톤트럭. 내 인생은 언제나 삐딱선. 세상이란 학교에 입학 전 나는 꿈이라는 봄을 찾아 유랑하는 해적. Sun like one piece and comes ups and down. 일출 모 하루의 반복기 서둘러 내 방에 달력을 넘긴다 억지로 26번째 미역국을 삼킨다 Oh no 벌써 넓어지는 이마 왜 이리 그냥 어린 꼬마들의 키가 때론 명예도 욕심도 조금 납니다 제발 떠나가지 말아 내 이마 하루를 밤을 새면 이틀은 주고 이틀을 밤새면 나는 반주고 위통약은 내 생활 필수품 위통약은 내 생활 필수품 Come on
온라인은 주니 쉽게
변해버린 모습 그대로 오케이 다 커버린 원숭이들의 고백
온라인은 주니 쉽게
변해버린 모습 그대로 오케이 다 커버린 원숭이들의 고백 음악 숲에 숨어 모험을 하는 내 삶이 라고 생각했던 것도 잠시 세월이란 독약을 마신 오 세상을 보는 내 눈이 바뀌어 내 룩도 바뀌어 욕심도 살쪄 오토바이 팔고 자동차를 사고파 시끄러운 것보단 산에 가고파 새들어 사는 것도 지겨워 집을 사고파 나 자리 잡고파 이제 출세하고파 하나 둘 나이가 먹고 가니까 이상하게 시간이 점점 빨리 가 나도 이제 어른이야 군대 갔다 오면 꼭 서른이야
온라인은 주니 쉽게
변해버린 모습 그대로 오케이 다 커버린 원숭이들의 고백
온라인은 주니 쉽게
변해버린 모습 그대로 오케이 다 커버린 원숭이들의 고백
이제는 다 커버린 나의 고백 철없던 대로 I wanna go back 이건 내 인생이 나의 노래 내 노래 이제는 다 커버린 나의 고백 철없던 대로 I wanna go back 이건 내 인생이 내
온라인은 주니 쉽게
변해버린 모습 그대로 오케이 다